Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for my absence last week, but I am grateful that you guys covered for me. I appreciate you both. Well done. Good job.
All right. What did we talk about last week? I don't remember. I remember we talked about a lot.
We talked about stuff.
It's been so long.
Yeah.
So much stuff that I'm going to quickly check what I uploaded.
No, we talked about
everyone.
We talked about the earnings call. Earnings call, Mike. It was earnings call.
It was earnings
Mike
call.
got to test drive with the yoke finally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun.
Drive my dream vehicle.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught the video portion. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Do your part first.
No. You do your part first.
All right.
I'll go first.
Last time we talked, or all three of us talked, I talked about shopping around for another vehicle. This week, I have been test driving vehicles. But the only one of interest that I want to bring up to you, I kind of wanted to do EV first. The only one I want to bring up to you of interest that I did not get to do was the EV6. And I did not, as of recording this, I have not sat behind the wheel of one just yet. These suckers, man, are hard to like test drive, like to actually like physically have them in person. I check the dealerships websites. I get little notification. I'm just constantly looking for Kia. Excuse me. Kind of like a burp bubble. Anyway, all these dealerships, I'm checking like, hey, they got these in stock. But I check them at night, and I'm like, all right, first thing in the morning, I go. And by the time I get there, because first thing in the morning is not first thing anymore when, you have a baby. But when I get there, it's already sold. It's gone. It's completely like, hey, I'm here to see the EV6. Yeah, we don't got that anymore. What do you mean? It just said. It's like, yeah, somebody bought it this morning. I'm like, oh. So, and that has happened to me so many times, in specifically the EV6. So I'm like, what do these people know that I don't? Or the Ioniq 5. I try to get my hands on an Ioniq 5, and same thing. These things are getting picked up very, very quickly, and it makes me like every time I show up, they're like, "Hey, you trading that in?" Because I show up in the Model 3. I'm like, "Get out of my face, no!" And I like, ew, gross. Will I trade in? Why are you going to give me $20,000 credit back? We could talk about credits again if you want, Drew. So. I automatically concluded, I guess I should say, my automatic assumption is that all these cars are selling like hotcakes. And I learned something about the dealership format that has changed since I had a Jetta, 2016. They're not, I went in ready to fight. It's like last car I bought, Tesla was so smooth and so I'm like, all right, I know how to negotiate, I know how to put up a fight, I know how to strong arm them, and I know what I want. I went in there ready to fight, and like I'm all puffed up and I look just pissed off, and I'm just ready to go. And everyone's like really friendly to me. Everyone's really nice, and everybody's just like, hey man, so we don't have the Ioniq 5 here anymore. What do you mean?
I'm just imagining the dealer with the mug of coffee. Hey, good morning. How are you? And you just
get out of my face!
Straight out of his hand. I'm not paying $1 over MSRP.
That's right. They're like, hey, welcome to Kia. No, I am not welcome. You're welcome for my presence. How dare you? But all these guys, like, they're not smug about it, but they're like, I mean, if you want to talk to somebody, we can get you with a sales associate and we can pull up the website. I'm like, I already did that. That's why I'm here. And so, yeah, I was like, I don't need a sales associate to, I already did that. They're like, oh, yeah, I can't really help you. And so then I'm like over here like, okay, don't you guys want my money? And they're like, I mean, if you're looking for an EV6, you could just, if you're ready to order one, we can sit down and place the order, and we'll take the $500 deposit if that's what. Like, it was so nonchalant. Like, they're like, they don't need my business. Like, we can't hold on to them anyway. They're gone. I'm like, wow. I feel so unloved and unwanted. And so now,
Maybe it's because you have a Tesla. They just know there's no point upselling you.
I kind of think like that. I do, because I had younger, like these sales dealers, kids younger than me coming up like, hey man, is that wrap? Like, did you get that done around? Like, of course they start with the wrap and like, what year is that? How much? And I'm like, who wants to know? And then he's like, I do. You trying to buy a Tesla? He's like, yeah, I'm looking at 2018. You work at Toyota. And he's just like, yeah, I know, but I want a Tesla. I'm like, okay, so now I'm the salesman here. Here's my referral code, by the way. It's very weird, a very weird like dynamic now. They're not interested. They're not trying to shove me in a car. And maybe even though I went in trying to pick a fight, like I was ready to fight. A lot of these guys, like I came in with like I'm looking for this particular model of the. I want the Wind, rear wheel drive. I want to see this one. This is the one you said you had on slide up. And so I'm saying specifics, and they're like, okay, yeah, we don't.
I know
got
what you
that anymore.
meant. It just sounds funny.
Yeah,
I want the Wind.
give me the Wind. I'm as light as the wind. So, anyway.
Yeah.
The dealerships are very.
That was my first video today. Was all about just availability. People don't realize that there's still this online myth that the problem with EV adoption is that we haven't convinced enough people to buy them.
Nope.
People keep thinking that's the problem. We just haven't.
Nope.
We need to convince all those gas guzzling people to buy a Hummer. When in reality, Randy's been trying to test drive an EV6, and they keep selling them like left and right because they can't build them fast enough. I'm like, that's the problem. Yeah. We're not building enough of them to match demand. That's the real issue.
Oh,
so
not only that,
this is a real
they
world
have a same
evidence
issue
of that.
as Tesla, where it's like we could put the order in right now, not just EV6, but then I was looking at some just other variants of different things, and they're like, there's a wait time that because they're like, how soon are you trying to get a car? I'm like, well, I mean, I got my Model 3, so I'm not in a hurry, but if I'm paying money, I kind of want it sooner rather than later. And they're like, yeah, so you're kind of looking like at a 3-month wait-ish, give or take. Some guy got his within 3 weeks, and that was an outliner there. We're pushing 3 to 6 months with some of these cars, especially if we have to spec them out to your certain package of something that you would want to get. So I'm like, what? Wait a minute. No, this is all wrong. I'm like, you guys had all these things. They're like, they're just flying off. Like, and one of the guy was a little bit more upfront with me. He goes, yeah, we're kind of moving towards the Tesla approach where we don't make them until they're ordered.
I'm gonna be fired next week.
Yeah, he's like, we don't make them until they're ordered. At this point, like, it's saving manufacturing costs because now it's just build them as they're ordered, and we'll get them when we get them. But everyone seems to favor the Tesla model, pun intended. And so they were like, all right, we'll move towards that one. And a lot of these dealerships are moving towards that. There are different prices with the MSRP and things. I'm like, okay, well, what are we looking at with cost after this? But to their credit, at least in my region here, they're very fair from what the site specs it out to be for what I price it. Say I look at something that's like close to 50,000. They'll be asking we're asking 50,000 and 55 or something like that. Like not 55,000, but 50,500 or 52. So like it's by the hundreds, not by the thousands. And I'm like, I'm ready to fight this. Like, no, I'm not paying $1. And they're like, nah, 70. One was like only $7 more. And I was like, what? And I asked the guys like, why? Why is it so low? And he's like, because I get a sell commission regardless. Whatever you buy, I have a set rate now. It's the same cost. I don't get a percentage of whatever that dollar is anymore. So they're changing their model. Or at least their format for new vehicles. I don't know anything about these used gas guzzlers. I couldn't tell you, but new vehicles, they're being very tight with the what you're building, and then obviously there is a cut that will happen with the dealership, but they're saying a couple hundred at most. I saw was maybe 1,000, and I was like, well, I'm not driving up to DC anyway, so never mind that business. So it's weird, but the hunt continues. The hunt for trying out these new vehicles is still.
What did you test drive? So we know what you didn't test drive.
I don't know if you're comfortable with me saying it on an EV podcast.
Oh, okay, yeah. Don't tell Mike. What were you gonna say? Go ahead, Mike.
Are we? Do we hate hybrids? Plug-in hybrids?
We did. I just need a safe word before you
Okay.
jump into that, so I can know to be off the show. Bye, guys. I gotta go.
Bananas.
See you next week.
I don't know.
I like it.
Okay.
That's good.
I try to plug in.
If you're gonna
hybrid.
bring up hybrids or gas cards, just say bananas, and I'll hang up.
But it's plug-in, right? This one requires juice.
What
kind of juice are you putting in it?
a good kind of analogy.
Bananas.
What if I told you?
Safe words are even.
What if I told you your lungs only had lung cancer some of the time? Would that make it more appealing?
So you're saying eventually?
That's how I feel about hybrids, basically.
Jeez.
Oh, Drew, you
What if,
silly boy.
what if you only had lung cancer 6 months out of the year instead of 12?
Is it constantly 6 months out of the year to where 6 months
Every other month you have lung cancer. Is that...
does it develop? If it doesn't
Yes.
develop,
I
then,
think-
okay.
I think lithium-ion batteries have been proven that they won't give you cancer. So I think you're being very rude about being around batteries and old cell phones that will give you brain cancers or tumors or something. We don't got those problems anymore.
Don't put your butt too
I
close
just
to that
have a s-
battery. It's gonna do something.
Meanwhile, stuffing batteries in our
So-
ears. I just have a really hard opinion because I've been driving a very, very old gas guzzler for
Well,
the past...
that's because that
couple
thing
weeks,
is
so-
older than me, and that's saying something. So I'm.
Do you know what kind of Mercedes
hear
that
you.
is, by the way, Drew? Like, do you know the make and model?
What? How do you guys know? What do you...
It was in the video.
Oh, I forgot. I was like, how'd you know it was a Mercedes?
I'm actually a few doors
It's
down. I remade my whole office just to
It's
do this route.
the Mercedes I'm driving is older than me and my wife combined.
Why would you combine each other?
I am
It's
NSA.
from 1971.
I am
I
the FBI,
I
CIA.
am far away from my local friends, my family, my grandparents, my sister right now, thousands of miles away. And I miss none of them as much as Pearl at this moment. I have never missed Pearl more. I cannot tell you. I know what it was like to want a Tesla and to see Teslas drive by. Then I knew what it was like to order a Tesla and see Teslas drive by when you don't have yours.
Friends, families.
Now I know what it's like
Screw 'em,
to-
I miss my car. Pick 'em, burn in
Now
the
I know what it's
apocalypse.
like to own a Tesla and not be able to drive it in a wonderful vacation environment that's just spectacular, but you have to drive a 52-year-old, 53-year-old high octane, whatever it is, crappy vehicle that doesn't want to start, that doesn't have cruise control, doesn't have cup. I'll do a whole video on that. I'll stop here. But
Okay, cool.
oh, I've never missed.
I thought you said you wouldn't do another video ever again unless it's an electric vehicle for a gas car.
I won't put it on EV.
Oh, you put on tech.
Oh,
Yeah, of course, right?
I love it.
Put it on gaming. Yeah. For no reason.
I totally
Put it on the
identify
food
with
channel.
that mindset though, Drew. I had the same feeling over the holiday break when I was helping my sister-in-law move, and I had to drive like 665 miles is what I calculated with the truck, and every single one of those miles it was it would have been tough to do it with the Model Y, but this would be so much nicer with a Model Y with cruise control that keeps me in the lane. It was just run-of-the-mill road, nothing too special, just needed to stay in the middle, but gotta make sure that I'm lane keeping with my own hands, and then making sure, well, I guess if I was towing with the Model Y, it probably wouldn't lane keep, it wouldn't have autopilot, but still, I missed it, so I get you.
It's seriously, I didn't realize that the vehicle you drive could impact your mood and like how your day goes, or how much like it'll make you nervous depending on where you're going to next. Which when you're visiting a new place, you really want good, reliable, consistent transportation. And when you don't have that, oh my God, it is. Oh,
I hope the car doesn't blow up this
so
time.
frustrating. Yeah, exactly. I hope I don't get stranded somewhere, and I'm still dreading the next time we have to drive it. But like, it's horrible. But this is what Tesla does to you people. Like, it turns you into a snob, and it genuinely ruins all other vehicles for you, because there's it's very pretty from the outside. Everywhere I park, people are like, "Ooh, nice car," and I'm always like, "You want it? You want to trade?" Like,
Oh, for the Mercedes.
This is, yeah.
I'm like,
Like, listen.
oh, that's a nice car, and I'm like, no, it
Tesla
isn't.
has one problem that I hope gets fixed sooner rather than later, and that is charging speed.
I mean,
Elon, how dare you?
I thought you were taking that into. I thought you were taking that in a different
This is
direction.
awkward.
No,
We're
we say
really
that for
charging speed?
Taylosive politics.
Well, that's ever gonna happen. If I'm ready to quit YouTube, I'll start Taylosive Politics. That's how you know I'm about to quit, just for the record. That means Drew's retiring soon.
Yeah, that's funny. So, charging
What's with
time.
charging speed?
Speed. Yeah, like listen, I have one problem as a
Just one in the world.
Just one. I got 99 problems, but my Model 3 ain't one. But it poses an issue when it comes to these inevitable road trips that we're taking. It's a whole different story when it's adults and we can just like kill the time while we're charging from like 40 minutes ish before we get to our next destination and carry on. It's a whole different beast when you have an infant newborn, and the last thing you want to do is just sit while that kid is just like you want to get to your destination as quickly as possible. Road trips are not fun unless he's asleep. And he's only asleep when the car's in motion. When the car comes to a stop, like it is just constant. Like, I get it. I hear you, son. So,
well, that's what they have dog mode for, right? No, I'm kidding. That was a joke.
He's joking.
I'll stop right there.
He's joking.
Florida has made you
Really
a very
very
Oh, sure. I didn't know you were
person,
retiring. You want to say controversial things? I didn't know he was about to retire. Look at this.
No, it's safe here. No one watches these.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
No, for the record, I joked about leaving the air conditioning on in the car.
Yes.
That would be terrible for the battery. Don't do No, okay, go ahead.
I love that nobody watches these or
Go
listens
ahead.
to these. Okay, so, yeah, we get a little bit more loose-tongued around here. The one thing that I really want to like experience and it be true, if it works, I know, but the DC fast charging, everything like. Why I'm so like eager to just try this EV6 or Ioniq 5 is that I want to know, is it really a 16-minute from 10 to 80 like it's set? Like I want to just see it with my own eyes. It's something I need to see. And if it's not, I know a company that if they allocated that much, resources into it, they can get those speeds reliably all the time. And it starts with and ends with Tesla. So, if they had those fast
Tesla.
charging speeds, what?
I said
What'd you say, Mike?
tuberculosis Tesla.
I love it.
You just added TB to them. I got checked for TB last month.
Did you?
By the way.
Good
Anyway,
for you, old man.
every January I have to, yeah.
Oh.
But I'm just here to tell you now, for the simple fact that the EV6 doesn't have battery preconditioning, that will not be a better road tripper than your Model 3.
You don't think
Like-
you think I would wait equal or longer time than 40 minutes when I have to stop for a charge?
If we're talking Electrify America, heck yeah. There's going to be ID4s there, down stations or bolts. And also, I know that the GMP 800 volt platform can take a 350 kilowatt charger, but the peak speed that's actually getting into the car still maxes out at like 220 kilowatts. It's not actually, it's confusing. I got into an argument with someone the other day about this, but it's like, they say that it can DC fast charge at 350 kilowatt stations, which is true. It's not actually putting 350 kilowatts into the battery pack. It's actually a smaller battery pack, I think, than your Model 3 is. It's something like 77 kilowatt hours. So 350 kilowatts on that would be insane. But 220 kilowatts is still pretty good. It's just the biggest issue I've seen with a lot of road tripping vehicles like the Ioniq 5 or everything on the GMP platform is that only recently they've been adding battery preconditioning to them so that the battery is ready to accept the fast charge when you arrive. But again, that's I don't know if that's even made it to the EV6 yet. I know the Ioniq 5 can do it, but the EA stations have just been so unreliable. I mean, I'd be interested to see your experience if you got one, but I would feel bad if I didn't at least warn you that.
I use the website that they tell you about, like, how to find these charging stations, and you can set the parameters of what you want it to be. And so I put the DC fast charging on there, and there is a crap load of them from like just in my area here, and I'm not in. Maybe I'm outskirts suburban. I'm not rural, but I'm not suburbs. I'm that weird in between.
Yeah.
And there's an awkward amount of like charging stations that support DC fast charging. And so then I route like, okay, from here to Ohio, from here to Florida, from here to Colorado, from here to New York. And it shows me just for those ones. I was like, that is objectively more blops that I have come up than I see on my my supercharging stations for the same routes. But every time I go to a supercharging station, even though there's less, there's more slots, and
yes,
10 out of 10 times
definitely.
it works. 10 out of 10. I've never had an issue, and I'm like, I don't want to let that go. But my issue now is that like I just grab and go. How can I bridge the gap of wait time of you would be at a gas pump to would you be at a charging station? That has become my new obsession, and maybe I have that headspace to be like, I'm willing to try this out, because at the end, like, I got the Model 3, I already win. Like, I already won. I got what I need, and we can always make that one work. So I feel like trying the other one would give me this chance to see how it's matured over the last 6 years. And my prerequisites for getting another EV is cabin space for crib and car seat, stroller, all the essentials, and then charging speeds. Like, if I find something that gets those two just right, then Tesla or non-Tesla, that's the one I will go towards first. So yeah, that's my filter. Those are my filters, and I know so little about Electrify America, except that it's unreliable. I'm being biased about it because we don't mean to be snobs about it. I've been pampered with Tesla and its network, and I don't want to leave it. But some things are slowly a little bit out of my control about that situation now. So, yeah.
Well, something that I thought of, I don't know how big your budget is, Randy, before I go into the whole engineering brain on fast charging, is we know, at least from many different studies, that Porsche Taycans can charge pretty quickly. In some instances, I think the fastest was like 22 minutes from like 5 to 80%, or something like that. It's
They
got
have a very good charging curve.
yeah, and they're coming out with 2 new EVs, as far as I know, in the next couple years. One being a Boxster, which is their little 2-door sport car, but they're also, I believe, electrifying the Macan, which is their SUV that I see everywhere in the Bay. It's a hit. If they have,
I see them a lot here too.
yeah, if they have the same architecture as a Taycan, even if it's the 4S or anything lower than that, there you go. It's just, I think a Macan right now, fresh off of Porsche's own website, the lowest price you can get with incentives and all that is around like $57,500. So electrifying that's probably going to propel it up to 60s, 70s, something like that. So if you're willing to pay the big bucks and get that Porsche level of fast charging at a DC fast charger that we're hoping and assuming works as reliably as a Tesla one, or else you're hunting around town trying to find a decently fast one, or I guess one that works in general, go for that. But yeah, with kind of what Drew said.
In regards to the budget
Go
part, I would tell you that the longer I save, the higher my budget will become, I guess. I'm not trying to spend, like, I'm trying to be realistic about it, and I'm not just trying to throw all my money at another car when we're trying to save for like a house or something like that. You know, I don't want the priorities. There is a pecking order in regards to what's a priority. A Porsche.
What do you need a house for?
Huh? Oh yeah. Oh, you mean the locked? It's my dedicated charging station. That's what the house would be.
That was a really long answer that made a lot of sense. That's my dedicated charging station.
That only I can use. I hope.
Yes. Yeah, but I think Mike's exactly right. If you were going to use Electrify America or CCS, if you wanted to step outside the Tesla walled garden or whatever, the Porsche series is probably, like, it's an established automaker with good charging speeds, and they're known for being more luxurious than Tesla, if you care about that kind of thing. But from what I've seen, like, everyone that reviews the Taycan loves it. Like, it just seems like a great vehicle that has a future, which I don't feel as confident about when talking about Lucids. And I also think the Taycan is way cheaper than most Lucids is as well. So
I've seen this on the road.
The charging speed of the Lucid is
I saw this in NorCal.
Better,
yeah. I had to look it up. Yeah. I saw this in NorCal.
Huh. Yeah.
So
if
97.
that's a good point, though. I hope that
Nope.
yeah. But to address your
the boring answer.
I was
Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, to address the other thing about chasing that fastest charging car, you have to take into account, 1, the charging infrastructure, but then 2, how long are you gonna own the vehicle, and do you care about battery health? Because you can up that speed for charging. You can up that capacity for the vehicle taking in as much electricity as possible, but it's going to do a number on the battery over time. It's going to destroy it. And that's just the physics of it all. You try pumping in a whole bunch of electricity fast into a battery pack, it's going to decrease its life. So theoretically,
that's only while you're traveling, though, right?
Well, yeah, very true. But also, I mean, a good equivalent circumstance would be you could do a sprint, right, Randy? You could do a sprint for like a mile. You're only doing it once, like every couple of years or something like that. So why not?
Oh, I
guess sprints aren't technically bad for you unless you're, yeah.
I'm closer to
maybe
a
not
Hummer.
the best. But I guess what I'm getting at is that there's a reason why we're not getting like 1,000.
He's making fun of me.
I was laughing at how good Mike's point was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyways, what I'm getting is there's a reason why there's only as fast speeds as there are on the market today. And that's, again, the Howard Stark thought process, or at least explanation, being
Let's hear it.
we're limited by the technology of our time. But along with that, it's just, it doesn't make sense to engineer your battery that way, especially when you're on that production scale and you want to promise some warranty or longevity for both the battery and the vehicle. So there has to be a trade-off. But
I know.
I think
I feel like the
Porsche,
trade-off would be that you're only doing that for the road trips if you're hurting your battery. Like, I wouldn't be doing DC fast charging every day of the week. It would just be to and from these road trips. Like, at the end of the day, my lifestyle has turned into we have to go see family members because for whatever reason, people don't want to come to us, so we got to go to them. So that's just the way it works.
That's true.
And
I don't want to go to you either.
and you've never been closer.
True.
Yeah, no,
I have a very boring answer for you, but you're not going to like it.
Oh, let's go. Let's hear it.
I think your best bet, because obviously gas cars or hybrids are not an option in my book. And, previously I recommended a used Model X, but those are definitely not going to charge very quick. Those are going to cap out at like 120, 150 kilowatts. And I wish I could recommend the Ioniq 5 or EV6, but I know what I've seen based on people that have done road trips. And you just made a big point on the last podcast about having everything under one umbrella, and you like the simplicity of one. Like, and I just know factually, like, I know your personality, and you will hate the process of third-party charging with a non-Tesla. Like that, just pulling into the station, it's saying it's online or it's not, or having to go into the app to activate it, or the speeds not being as advertised. And I just know that's going to bug the heck out of you, which is why I'm not saying, like, definitely don't do it, but just be warned.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, so many people have just said, like, Tesla's got the road tripping experience down to a science and no one can touch it.
You're going to say, use the Y, aren't you?
So, yep,
Yeah.
you found where I was headed with that. Yeah. Buy Mike's Model Y is what I'm telling you. Take his car.
I didn't know that I was selling my car, but okay.
Yes. Surprise!
If I have to get FSD, I might as well buy it from someone I know I trust. Yeah.
I found one for $51,000. It's a long-range all-wheel drive. But that's going to give you 250 kilowatts.
Yeah.
That's going to give you more storage space than the 3. And I know you might not want to hear this, so plug your ears if you don't know where this is going. But I would even suggest, if you want to be wise with your money,
Here we go.
If you want to be wise with your money, I'd say trade in Phoenix for a Y and wrap the Model Y in the green. And then, well, maybe not trade it. Tesla trade-in is terrible. Sell your Model 3 with full self-driving, because that's worth 50. You'll like this, Randy. Hold on.
And the baby.
You might like this part. And the baby. It'd be great if Randy just screamed and then we just start hear baby crying in the background. So you bought full self-driving with your Model 3.
I did.
That is now a $15,000 add-on.
Yep.
So you could sell your Model 3 for probably a reasonably high amount, put it towards either a used or new Y. Who cares if the Y has full self-driving? Because, like you said, you don't use the beta and you don't care about that anymore. Yeah. So don't think of it as a loss. You are making Phoenix more practical. And you can call her Phoenix Plus or Phoenix XL or whatever. Same color, get the wrap, and you don't even have to do the Chrome delete anymore, because all Model Ys already have the matte black. So this is cheaper. And you'll have more storage space, and you'll still have the supercharging. If supercharging is too slow for you, I guess my answer is that everything is too slow.
No, that's like, not your answer.
Nothing's faster than... Okay, well, what will be faster than the Model Y is obviously the Cybertruck. I don't know if you still have your order in on that, but Elon's a very trustworthy guy, and apparently that's entering production.
Drew,
in a
we were
couple
talking
months,
about
so.
ethics in the last episode and how you have morals, and I don't like how your moral compass is not pointing true north right now.
Well, I'm not in a northern state, so.
The math adds up.
Oh God! So yeah, that's my suggestion. Turn Phoenix into a Model Y.
I can't believe you just said that.
Act like it's the same car.
I can't believe you. I mean, the name would have more oomph to it, even more so, because Phoenix would be. But I can't believe you said. I can't believe you looked me in my face and told me to sell my Model 3.
We had the price cuts, federal tax credit.
Listen, how? Oh,
you might even get a Giga Texas model if you know.
Oh man, that's not even heartburn. I think that's just cancer. We were talking about that cancer in the lungs thing.
Yeah,
I don't need to buy a hybrid or a gas vehicle. You just gave it to me.
Is this a crazy suggestion, Mike? Back me up.
Well, I've seen
Mike,
his.
Tell the truth. You and I know.
As the person who owns the Model Y on this podcast, who has spent the most time in the Model Y on this podcast, maybe not in the world, because there's many people who have spent much more time in their car than me.
I think you've been in the Y more than anyone.
I don't think so. I think people who have daily road tripped it so much to where they've got like 300,000 miles on it. Anyways, long story short,
I'm fighting you on this.
I've enjoyed the Model Y. I do think it is. There's a reason why there's a backlog on orders for Model Ys.
Yes.
It's not because it's just an electric vehicle. It's a very fun vehicle. To sell the Model 3 and get a Model Y is a very bold choice and very anti what Randy is. Or sorry, I should correct myself. It is anti what Randy was. Back in 2022 and before that, that is what Randy was. This is Randy is being today, 2023. And you got to think about, what does this new Randy that we highlighted in the tech podcast, I think not last week, but the week before when we came back, this newer Randy, what decision would he make? Not just for himself, because it's no longer just him and Brittany. It's now him, Brittany, and Sage. So to have Phoenix go out in a flame, unfortunately not an explosion, but
don't do it, Mike.
In a glorious flame, and to be reborn as a very fat chicken, I would think is a very...
There's the rooster. Yeah.
Stop. I think is not a bad idea logically, especially if you're looking for a car that can fast charge.
You guys are not my friends.
Thank you.
But I will stipulate that you will be doing...
Just buy a Model Y. Just have two.
I guess it depends on the range that you have in the 3 versus the range that you'd have on a used Y. Or you could just get a new Y. Bite the bullet and get a new one, but all you're doing is just waiting, which you're already doing that right now. So
guaranteed no ultrasonic sensors.
Yeah.
You get to buy a new one.
Guys, I see what you're doing. I know.
I'm playing the responsibility card. This is cheaper what I'm suggesting.
Spending $50,000 plus on a new car is not responsible as I shop around for a $50,000 car or so.
You would be selling your 3, so you're not technically spending that much.
Oh,
you wouldn't be out $50K. You'd be out like maybe 20 or 15 or something
like that. Depends. Like you said earlier, that one dude at the Kia dealership was looking for a 2018 Model 3.
Mine's a 2019.
Even better.
Wow. I just wanted 2018.
You just sold it.
Yeah, I think honestly, like, if you're looking for a faster road trip machine, I don't think it exists in your price range, basically.
Or for what you need. You could get a Taycan, but I don't think Sage would be happy with it.
Yeah, that defeats the whole point of extra storage
Yeah,
space.
cabin space
honestly,
is so important for this next vehicle that we get. That like one thing about the Ioniq 5 that I saw with my own eyes, and it's also with the EV6. But I need to see the EV6 in person. It's a car, not it's a sedan. It's not an SUV. I know hatchback doesn't make it a crossover. A hatchback can just be a hatchback.
It's a sedan with a hatchback.
Asgard's a place, not a people.
And it's
Wait.
small. It's
I
small.
said that backwards.
What'd you say?
I said Asgard is a place, not a people. In which never mind.
You're funny.
I'm saying Phoenix is idea, not a car, right?
Phoenix is a vessel to the Vasquez household.
I am an idea. The first part, so it's very simple. Cabin space, first and foremost, how quickly it takes to charge or the other form. But number one is cabin space. The only reason why we're entertaining this is because Phoenix and the Yaris that we have they just don't have enough room, and it hinders us from doing what we need to do to have an actual road trip happen. And without that space, we're limited to going somewhere that we have to be able to come back same day, or something has to give. This last trip I took a couple of weeks ago down to North Carolina, we let go of a stroller. We left that here in lieu of a travel-sized.
You could tow it.
I could.
There's gonna be no wheels at the end of it.
I thought about strapping. That is something we've looked at.
Just get roof racks. Just take the hit on range, and then you have to stop more.
See, and then
have you seen those teardrop trailers they make for the 3?
Then he has a towing inefficiency.
Yeah, I have. I'm lying. I have. I don't.
You're like talking down to yourself. Yeah, I have. I'm lying.
I'm lying. It's hard, guys. It's hard.
I'm just looking forward to this challenge. I just don't like. I think I can. Rather than buy a whole new car, I would just try to get really creative with like baby accessories and like trying to stuff it all in the trunk and stuff. That's what I would be doing. I would be like, you don't need that. You don't need this. Cut back on this. That would be my approach. But
there is a creative way of a new stroller that we're looking at, but it's a temporary thing because it only works for children to a certain weight. And as you guys know, my kid big. He a big old kid.
Yeah.
So
yes. That's off to Brittany.
Hey, I helped.
Right. Right. I think from what you're describing to me right now, the Model Y is the best solution.
I know it will work, the Model Y. But then we have another issue of this whole like charging situation that like, and it's not necessarily even me you got to convince. It's
I get it.
Me. You have to like everything is ran through a vote that has to pass the Senate and the House before it gets to the president's desk for signature. Okay? It has to pass both.
Brittany, houses. I am the Senate.
No. It's treason, then.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But, speaking of Brittany, we should probably talk about... I want to hear your guys' opinions on the Cybertruck sighting we got today.
Ooh. Yeah. Did you see it? Anything, Mike?
Oh, yeah. I see him all the time on my way home now. No, I'm very jealous that someone spotted it.
It's in his notes.
Yeah.
It's in his notes.
Also, did you see the video? Did you see the video of it? Or did you just see the picture?
I did. I saw the video.
I only saw the picture. So
there's a whole video.
What's funny, and this happens a lot on Twitter is I will find a video like that, I will retweet it, and then someone will DM me that video because I retweeted it. They saw it in their timeline and thought, Drew needs to see this, even though I'm the one that shared it to them. It happens a lot, but
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Yes.
I'll take.
So unfortunately, I think the link that I sent does not have the video, but I was
I'll
watching that
send it.
video
Okay.
to try to see if there was any rear wheel steering action. I couldn't really discern it. But
I don't see any, no.
it is interesting. It looks a lot more rounded on the top glass on the back, which makes it look a little bit more bubbly, at least from the angles that we got.
Do you notice the proportions of the tailgate?
That's
the biggest change to me.
Seems
It's a lot
more
wider.
squished. So instead of being tall,
Smushed.
it's definitely in
Yes.
the y-axis, in which I guess it's going in the z-axis a little bit, but still, it's definitely squished a little bit. And it's kind of weird not seeing the tailgate light fully illuminated.
bar.
It's just these sides, in which we've seen it before, where it's just kind of like the two side lights. I think on one prototype earlier. Which is kind of strange, but okay, whatever. I did want to note, I guess, before we go too deep into this, Drew, your video on it, there's a reason why it looks like it's kind of leaning forward a bit in a way. And that's just how cars are built. Or at least that's how you want your truck to sit without having a load on it. You want it leaning forward. My Ram 1500
Makes sense.
is always leaning forward unless I hook up a trailer to it, or it's got payload in the bed, or there's a whole bunch of people inside, in which then they're all in the back and they're really heavy. But even still, it's usually leaning forward, and that's better for aerodynamics because you're getting a different angle of attack. And along with that, it's prepping, or not prepping it, but it's a way to make sure that when your truck is carrying a load or towing, that it's not angled upward and causing a bunch of drag to occur on the belly pan, or at least just the underbits of the truck. So that's why most trucks look like that. For this, it's unknown whether they've got some suspension or whatever
Well, now
setting.
we're zooming in on it. I don't know if that's what you mean by leaning forward, but the front end is definitely higher up than the back end. I think that's what you're referring to.
The front, if it's leaning forward, you want the front end lower than the back end. So what you're saying is it's leaning back.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't think
the
it's leaning
picture
back.
has like. Have you seen the photo?
I'm looking at it right now, and you can see
The
there's a bit of space between. Yeah, I'm seeing what you're saying. I'm seeing what you're saying.
And my theory is that they're either the air suspension is bust or they're trying to, because the Cybertruck has this very like long slope on the back, they're intentionally trying to get the back end lower to the ground so that it has better aero than it would if, because what we've seen in the prototype in the unveiling is it has this really high ground clearance with this very aggressive stance and the tail sticks up real high. That's what it was when they unveiled it, and that's when they were giving test rides and stuff. We're used to seeing it all tall, and there were a lot of people complaining about today's prototype because it looks unnaturally low to the ground for a vehicle of its size. So people are like, this looks...
ground. Yeah, well,
It's like lower than we're used to seeing the Cybertruck, and I think it's them testing like an efficiency thing, or maybe the suspension is just broken right at the moment. I don't know.
I think they're just testing out different settings on it. This is
Probably.
Also, it's pretty funny. Some of the comments I see is like, "Oh, it's promising that like they've got a beta on the road." It's like, well, yeah, they're always going to be testing a prototype, and yeah, it's a good sign that they are testing it. But it's all the way in California. They're not making these things in California, or at least if you want to see the same effect that the Model Y did, where we started seeing Model Ys pop up at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020. That's one right by where they're manufactured, which is a good sign, because if you're seeing a whole bunch and they're right by where they're manufactured, that must mean they're getting something done on it. This one is very far away.
But we
from
know
home. This one's
the
all the way
9,000 ton gigapress is in Texas, so this is very likely not a production grade model. It's just a handmade like
I would say it's a great,
Palo Alto.
it's a good test bed. I think what they're doing is it could be going between Palo Alto and Fremont, being tested on many different metrics, both software, hardware, and all that. We saw it before,
Probably,
when we saw one being tested, or I think one or two being tested in Fremont on the test track. So it's nothing new. It's just testing. But these, like you said, are more like
the mirrors are new.
The mirrors are new, but these are definitely test beds versus production intent.
Correct.
Products, and there is a difference between those. Especially when we see the one at Fremont that has the one at Fremont that had like basically no headliner and all that. It all the electronics were all over the place on the inside. You could definitely tell, and that's what you call a test bed. But yeah, this thing's cool. The side view mirrors, I've kind of given up, to be honest. Maybe I'll just put it out here. The Cybertruck is not going to be the vehicle probably for me and my wife. These side view mirrors are a sign that they don't really care about what you can see on the sides or back of the vehicle too much. And that's something that my wife already takes issue with the Model Y, is that those side view mirrors are tall but like small. And this is the direction maybe that they're going with the Cybertruck, then it's definitely not going to be good for towing or anything else that we want good view, at least for me and my wife's use cases. We liked more of like the big blocky ones, even though like aerodynamically sucks, you're going to destroy a lot of your range. Those are great for seeing behind you and all that. And which even I think my wife said, can we put even like longer ones on it? We want something like what you would see on a 3500 Ram. Some huge giant rectangle on its side, but that's not what's going to happen.
And I mean, I'm sure you could probably modify the Cybertruck to have that. I mean, Elon's still tweeting today that the goal is for the mirrors to be easy to remove. So I assume that means new ones can be added pretty simply. But
hopefully,
I still ultimately agree with your point that the first generation Cybertruck, at least, I do not think is going to be good for cross country towing.
Nope.
Like, there's so many issues with that. Range is just one of them, but the charging network isn't going to be great either. So I think that use case specifically is just not going to be great for EVs for a while. I think that's the last thing that will switch to electric. But I think the first generation is going to be pretty disappointing for most.
What about you, Randy?
I don't think... The fact that we're shopping around for a car now just to see what's out there kind of already answers that question about, are we waiting for a Cybertruck? I get the joke, like, is that thing even still, like, I kind of forgot what that thing even looks like. Is that thing even still relevant? Is it still around? Like, I hear it. I hear it all the time.
So much has happened since then.
Yeah. And the fact that, like, because it's been so long, it's like, okay, well, now we know that's not going to be the price. And it doesn't look like those are going to be the range numbers anyway. And, she wants the tri-motor 500 plus, variant, promised at 70 or 80,000, whatever it was. And she's like, that's what we had paid towards it. And that's not looking like it's going to be the case for some, if not all of those factors. She's like, then it's not worth it anymore. Because she was sold by the towing capacity was partly of it too, but range and price for the range. That's what sold her in 2019, early 2020. She's like, that's what I care about. And I'm like, yeah, makes sense. 2024, or excuse me, 2023, but we won't see until 2024. I mean, we were not even a year married yet when we saw the Cybertruck. Not a year yet. Now we're multi-years married, have a kid, have another house. Life's changed. Pandemic happened. I mean, weird couple of years, guys.
All these things.
Yeah. We're not the same. She's not the same person, as she was late 2019, early 2020.
You just get the montage from Up of Carl Fredricksen marrying his wife, and you just put the caption "Waiting for Cybertruck," and they're like growing old together. Painting the house. Yeah.
So
still waiting.
I don't see it happening. Yeah, it's
I have a question for both of you though.
yeah.
But my updated theory based on what we know about 4680 cells and their energy density is that they're still going to go with a 300-mile range variant first and say we'll do a 500-mile range variant in the future. But what I'm still torn on is for your first generation Cybertruck, if it's going to be 300 miles, do you make it dual motor to say like this is the mid tier and maybe try to qualify for the tax credit? Because Tesla tried to, they dropped prices of Model 3 and Y a lot to qualify for the tax credit. Or do you just say demand is going to be off the charts for this thing, we'll give it a quad motor so that we can justify charging 100 grand or 120 grand, because now we'll be able to say any other vehicle at that price we can beat in terms of acceleration and torque and off-roading capability. So like, because on one hand I hear Elon say we're going to start with the quad motor, but on the other hand I hear him say like affordability is the most important thing with the Cybertruck, and like other companies struggle to price their trucks reasonably, but we can do it better than they can. So I'm like, it seems like they kind of care about the public perception of the price, and with prices going
They're
down
so
now,
late to the game that I think you need to have good PR about this. Yeah.
PR, huh? I know Tesla likes PR. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So you think they might try to do like an $80,000 dual motor so they can qualify for a tax credit or what have you?
Is that your interpretation of me saying good PR?
I mean, not good, but better than the other option, which is the first Cybertruck is like Hummer EV territory of pricing. I think that's gonna. 1,000 voices suddenly cried out, and there's all these people that are still expecting the Cybertruck to be $70,000 and 500 miles of range, and I just
voice you did there.
Hello there, Ray. I just know that that's not going to. Like, I'm looking at the cell chemistry, and I'm looking at current pricing, and I'm looking at demand, and I'm like, there's just no way the Cybertruck, regardless of how good it is going to live up to the hype. I read a comment today. I don't know who the heck thought this. I read a comment today saying, I thought the Cybertruck would start at $30,000. I was like, what? Who told you that? Like, I know it wasn't Tesla. They're watching some of those they're not even joke, but they're like the clickbait scam channels that all the time that are like, this new nuclear diamond battery is gonna come out and the Cybertruck will start at $7. They watch those videos and there's so much crazy expectations around it. And I'm like, no, regardless of how good I think personally, $80,000 for a 300-mile range Cybertruck, I think is an amazing deal. I think that's wonderful, considering, look at the market right now. How much are Rivian selling for? How much are Hummer selling for? How much are Lightning selling for? Just the fact that it's unique, durable, has a bigger bed than Rivian or Lightning, has supercharging access and the other guys don't, like, easily, hundreds of thousands of people could justify it at 80 grand. So if they did that, I think they would lose less people than if they do the 120 grand approach. But at the same time, I'm like, Tesla doesn't really care if they lose a bunch of people because they've gotten over 1 million reservations. So they could lose 90% and they would still have a wait time because, like Elon said, the ramp is going to go very slowly. So I can't decide. Like, are they going to prioritize just we don't need to make money on this. It's low volume. So let's just focus on making it at least somewhat close to the pricing that we originally set forward? Or do they just go, screw you, you're going to pay whatever we ask? I can't tell. I don't know.
Might be in the middle.
I think lower priced.
What does in the middle look like? Is that tri-motor?
No. I think tri-motor, the more... As time has gone on, and you first initially pitched the idea that tri-motor's dead after, I guess, quad motor was announced on Twitter, that's slowly grown into me thinking, I think if anything, we're going to get a quad motor and a dual motor. Quad motor is going to be like $999 base price.
900.
Sorry,
And
not 900.
99.
I know what you
99,000. Yeah, no, that's way too many nines.
It would probably sell, to be honest. But
Still
yeah,
probably,
I know
yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah, 99,990. Yeah. Bunch of nines. Like,
Right under six figures.
exactly.
Did
And
somebody
then
say 6?
add another 6. Yeah, and then you need to add options to that as
Do
well,
it.
which I'm sure they would have to add some options for like the launch edition, whatever Tesla wants to call it.
That's what I mean, though.
Initial
Yeah, the launch edition, like the first spec of Cybertruck.
Yeah, but even so, like a dual motor is probably going to be in that $80,000 range. $80,000 range, and
Okay,
it's
so
just
one would qualify for the credit.
I don't think it even matters for the credit at this point. It's just we need to sell these vehicles, and for the first 2 years, it's just going to be nothing but quad motors, and then eventually they'll get to dual motors. I mean, look at the Model Y. There still hasn't really been a rear-wheel drive for a meaningful amount of time in the States.
Right. Yeah.
It's just been
They snuck a rear-wheel drive Model Y out when Elon was busy at SpaceX, but as soon as he came back, he canceled it right away.
yeah. So it's only been dual motor, and I think quad motor Cybertruck for as long as they can do it, in which they will for a long time because, well, it's going to have crazy demand. It seems like it because that's what estimates are saying, and also the interest and hype for just the wedge on wheels. Yes. So it only makes sense to me that it's going to cost a bunch. I see the Cybertruck at this point more as a toy than a truck. With the amount of bed space it looks like it's going to have, with the side view mirrors that it's going to have, it looks more like a Gladiator, like a Jeep Gladiator to me than a Ram 1500 or a Chevy Silverado or whatever. It doesn't really, it's redefining the definition of a truck, but I feel like it's just...
Yeah, it doesn't really look like anything.
It's not really a truck to me anymore. It's just a Gladiator. Like, it's a Jeep with a bed. Like, those existed before the Gladiator occurred, and even before, I think, the predecessor of the Gladiator that was a Jeep with a bed. Even so, I think this is just Model X, but low res and has a bed at this point. It's very flashy, very expensive, but it's not meant for like utility really. Just meant
This
for
is Model
fun,
X on the PlayStation 1.
Yes. This is Xbox 720.
I will admit it has a lot more utility than a Model X. So if you wanted a supercharging capable vehicle that was more utility focused, I guess this is it. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of pickup truck buyers I can imagine not getting on board with it just over the design alone. But I do think the exoskeleton is a huge advantage over any other truck. Just not paint to worry about and dents and stuff, just big old brick.
That's the thing that sells me, is that it's durable, which is great. But for all the things I want to do, like for why I use my truck is weekly, I take the trash out to the street and all that, and I don't want to wheel it because of how my house is in relation to the street nearby.
Yeah.
And so I take it in the bed of the truck, in which that can hold about 4 cans. This thing, the Cybertruck, it looks like it can maybe hold 2 or 3, maybe, if I wanted to try.
Yeah, I get that vibe from it with that video.
Yeah.
It looks more like that.
Yeah,
Chevy.
it doesn't give you a good size feeling from these videos.
No.
Maybe it's still a big bed, I don't know, but like vertical space
The problem
is
is the
definitely
longer
a little
I
bit
look
of a
at
concern.
the more I worry about it.
Okay.
No, wait.
Yeah,
I wasn't
to
trying
get
to
it in
set
there.
that up. It's just that like I don't get the warm and fuzzies anymore. The longer I look about it,
It's not a good marketing shot. I'm sure if Tesla did a photo op with it, like they did with
but those were
Plaid Model S and stuff.
do the marketing shots for this new updated design the way they rolled it on out for the Giga Texas event that they did. Like, just bring out what you have right now. Then, like you act, not you, but like Tesla, it acts like we're not looking for every new piece of information that you can give us, and then Like, it's not bad publicity. It's still press coverage. It's still a net positive for them to just have any information about the Cybertruck. So much so that, like, you can't go an earnings call without somebody asking or bringing up. You know, they want to know something. They like it's the most.
It's true. Every earnings call, there's been a question
Because it's the
about
most
it.
inquired vehicle, more than roadster or semi. Like, this is a lot of reservations that went into it. They got to, like, it's just I'm singing the same tune. Just give us anything. Just give us some information. Don't let us find out through this or through some drone footage that when you crop in, it's all pixelated.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. This is not the way to reveal things.
Yeah.
No.
Like, someone spots it and then Elon comments on it 2 hours later. Like, come on, just update the website. If you can't do the 500-mile range first, then just let us know now rather than 2 weeks before deliveries. Like, managing expectations is something I complain about Tesla with a lot, and the Dodge Ram concept as well. It's just like, don't set expectations way high like this if you can't deliver. Yeah. And the fact that they haven't tried to lower expectations much, I'm like preemptively defending it. That's what I feel like I'm doing in my videos. It's like, this doesn't come from a state of like, I want it to suck, I want it to fail. I have a strong feeling on how they're going to do it, and I'm trying to express why we should be okay with it. Like, it's not the ideal scenario, but it's understandable. But the funny thing that I was going to mention, because we talk about, like, people are going to buy it regardless of what it costs because it's more talked about than pretty much any other vehicle. And I mean, this podcast and my channel's existence are good evidence of, like, it doesn't matter how tiny the update is. Like, there'd be like a slightly different mirror, and that video blows up and outperforms every other video I could have possibly made. So it's like, there's so much interest surrounding it that even if Mike is right, which he probably is, that this is not like a very utility focused pickup, that is more just a what did they call the Model X? Fabergé egg. Mm-hmm. It's just the Tesla dream product. The Swiss Army knife of Tesla vehicles. They just threw everything in this to make it their best product ever. Even if it's not very functional, we're not going to know that it's not a good buy for several years because of the insane following of the Tesla community. Like, the amount of rich millionaires, partly because of Tesla stock, that are following Tesla as a company. There he is.
There he is. That one guy.
Like, they're all just going to pounce on this thing at every possible available inventory, regardless of spec, regardless of price. And that, I don't know, maybe there's a debate to be had on whether or not this is what the EV transition needs. Because on one hand, pickup trucks are the best-selling vehicle in the United States. Like, they've always been for decades. People buy more pickups than any other vehicle, so Tesla needs a pickup. And Tesla focused on what was the most, manufacturable, profitable, simple design we could do that was also different and unique, because we didn't want to blend in with the crowd. And I respect the ideas they carried with that. I appreciate that they didn't just make a random normal-looking truck with a Tesla logo. I would have been bored. I wouldn't have cared. But, like, it's a situation where I feel like the brand has so much power now that they can get away with whatever they want, to the point that it's like, okay, a bunch of the people buying, like, something that's always kind of bugged me is like when Elon says, I'm going to buy the Cybertruck. Like, that's my vehicle of choice.
Of course you are.
I'm like, okay.
Have fun.
But Elon, what are you moving in the bed of your car? Like, don't you have a security team? Don't you get in the back of the car and someone else drives you around? Like, why do you need a pickup truck? Shouldn't you be driving, like, and you're going from Texas to California, wherever, flying all over the world, China, Berlin. Like, why do you need a personal vehicle of choice? Like, what do you think he's going to be loading mulch into his truck so he can work on his property? Like, oh wait, he doesn't have a property, so it's like, what is he? Like, and I feel like that's the mindset of a lot of super Tesla fans. Is just like, well, it looks cool and it looks weird, so I want to buy it. And I respect people's choice to buy what they want, but it does come at the cost of, if your fan base is so big that you can sell just to them, did you really transition pickup truck buyers,
Right.
or did you just create a pricier fanboy toy? Like, I don't know. I don't feel super confident about that statement, but I feel that back and forth in my head is like, this is Tesla's Hummer in a lot of ways, like, and it's better than the Hummer. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be way more efficient and it'll ramp at high volume, but is this displacing a lot of gas F-150s, or is this displacing a bunch of more efficient Model Ys? That people are already like, that's kind of what it feels like. But it's
No, I get what you're saying though.
Still
I hear
interesting.
your overall issues that like it almost feels like, at the risk of not repeating too much of my theme of last week, it almost feels like it could be losing its focus or its vision about what its purpose is when we start looking at like when you start to like everybody wants to go through this thing with a fine tooth comb, we want to examine every inch of that thing, and looks like it's hard. I would say for us in particular, it's hard for us to separate ourselves from even a normal car buyer, because we are so in the know about consumer tech, and this is seen to me sometimes as like a next level of consumer tech at a higher tier with a lot more zeros at the end of it. Like we are kind of playing that same game about latest and greatest, this new thing. People are interested in foldable phones because they're just something new, and that's how they're looking at the Cybertruck, because it looks new, but does it provide the
except
same...
people are actually interested in the Cybertruck.
Except people are actually interested in the Cybertruck.
Unlike
Does it... What... Okay, you know what? I'll just repeat myself. What problem is the Cybertruck fixing?
Vision.
This is good.
It's all vision, right?
It's a visual-based product. It's for looking at, Randy.
And
Does
it's
sell
all
Teslas.
different spectrums. It's not a singular use case. Here we go.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope maybe the proportions just look bad in the video, and maybe when Tesla updates the site, we find out, hey, it's a 6.5-foot bed, and it has way more storage than a Rivian or a Lightning, and like.
Well, the thing is, you can say it's a 6.5-foot bed, but they're measuring from the furthest distance, probably on the bottom because of how it's shaped.
True.
To
That's a
like,
good point.
if the bed is,
Yes.
whether it's closed or open, probably open, and then they're measuring to where the tailgate lies flat.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, there we go, 6 feet. It's like, well, yeah, but first you have a slope coming up from like the cabin.
True.
So then it's like, all right, well, you can't really have something stand straight up there. And then how this...
They just leave a gap in the bed that goes underneath the cabin, so they could say it's a 13-foot bed as long as you're storing things that are like an inch.
It becomes the Ram Revolution with it's a pass through technically if you follow this bolt hole. You can store dowels, really very long dowels, about like a quarter of an inch in diameter, all the way in.
Hopefully, this is just a really spotty, shoddy prototype, and it actually has nothing in common with the production.
I'm not really. If they're not, well, how I'm seeing is we've seen the announcement, the unveiling of it, and what its dimensions kind of roughly are, and all that, and how it's shaped. We've seen some of the prototypes at Fremont and all that, and they look somewhat similar, just some minor differences with interior and maybe the overall percentage size reduction in a way, because that's what they've done. They've reduced the size a little bit. It's still like, even so, it's still very much like it's close to what they announced. And even that was like questionable in regards to what my concerns are today. It's just today, it's been, what, 5 years now or whatever since, or something like that. and nothing's really changed or improved, and we don't know.
It's just gotten worse every time.
Well, the expectations are just, they've gone through the roof at this point, but the reality of the situation is it's still probably very much the same vehicle that they unveiled back in 2019, but now it's going to be fully realized, but it just still doesn't have the same amount of utility as it did back in 2019, is I guess what I'm getting at. So it's just a nice slap of reality to the face of, yeah, this isn't going to be the replacement for my truck, in which at the time when it came out, we didn't have the truck. So we've kind of solved that, kind of like how Randy is right now looking for a car. My wife and I have already solved that by getting a Ram 1500, and we don't need a new truck now. We don't need one next year. And if we did take delivery of a Cybertruck, let's just say next year at the earliest, it would purely be for enjoyment of it, and then trying to probably sell it to like a family member or a friend first, because it's like, this is great, but we don't need it because
someone
we
will
have a truck.
put it on Turo. Someone will
do that
rent it
too.
out.
It's just, I don't like the
Randy
idea.
has all these flashbacks.
I am flinching so hard when I don't say that word. Bananas.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Someone will buy it. It's
Someone
not a
will
bad
buy
idea
it.
to just take delivery to flip it, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of flipping it. That's not what Tesla
Breaking
wants, and
even.
that's not what I want either. But the idea that like it's going to be a scarcity of Cybertrucks somehow because Tesla won't be able to make enough, and there will be people just reselling this quad motor for like $150,000-$170,000, same price for like a Lucid Air. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, it will be. It's good points, though.
It's like FOMO.
Yeah, you guys bring up
Cybertruck
good
FOMO.
arguments. Yeah. I want you to take delivery just so we can play with it for a week, and then we can get rid of it. We can
Sounds fine
drive
by
off
me.
the cliff or whatever.
You can help with buying it. You can help with the down payment.
That sounds good. Yay! That sounds good. You have any closing thoughts, gents?
Air power's dead. Oh wait, sorry.
Wrong
that note.
episode, wrong show. But
I think you
the
mean
other thing has been.
Nicola Badger is dead.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you cannot kill what was never alive.
Whoa. Is that Art of the War? Sun Tzu said.
It's a War of the Art.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Right. Good book. Thank you all for watching. See you next week. Have a good one.
Bye,
Happy
guys.
Groundhog Day.